In freezing weather of -20 degrees, the woman took off her coat, then removed her pants, leaving only her inner clothes and shoes. She slowly walked toward the icy river, but the water was unbearably cold. In less than a minute, her body began to cramp from the freezing temperature, and she quickly ran back to the shore. But she didn't give up. She gathered some wood, selected pieces of the right size, and pushed them into the lake. Then, gritting her teeth, she stepped into the freezing water again. Using the wood for support, she managed to float her body and reach the middle of the lake. After confirming the position, she took a deep breath and dived straight to the bottom. The reason she risked her life like this was because there was a crashed airplane underwater. Lisa was the only survivor of that plane crash. Now, she had to risk everything to enter the wreckage and find the captain's satellite phone to call for help. But after searching, she couldn't find it. As her lungs reached their limit, she grabbed 2 backpacks randomly and used her last breath to swim back to the surface. When she was about to return to the shore, she suddenly heard a terrifying roar. Looking closely, she saw a huge brown bear. Worse, it had eaten her only food. No matter how loudly Lisa shouted, the bear ignored her and kept eating. Before leaving, it even left its droppings behind. After returning to the shore, Lisa quickly checked the backpacks. Most items were soaked in water, and the electronic devices no longer worked. Fortunately, the second backpack was tightly sealed, but inside, there was nothing useful. Only stacks of cash. In the middle of the wilderness, money meant nothing. Now starving and thirsty, she picked up a bottle to collect river water, but she knew stagnant water could be full of bacteria. Just as she felt hopeless, she came up with an idea. She found a pair of glasses and focused sunlight onto the money. Soon, the cash started burning. Lisa was thrilled at her cleverness. She used metal debris from the plane as a pot and boiled water over the fire. After finally drinking clean water, her biggest problem became finding food. But Lisa didn't give up. She used an earring to make a simple fish hook, tied it to a stick with thread, and made a basic fishing rod. However, after waiting for a long time, no fish took the bait. Exhausted and frustrated, she threw the rod into the water. Left with no choice, she walked into the forest in search of food. After a few hundred meters, she finally found hope. Wild berries growing everywhere. She collected them in a bottle, and finally had a proper meal. She stored the remaining berries, and went back to gather more. Suddenly, heavy rain started pouring down. Realizing this was a blessing, she placed bottles outside to collect rainwater. Even after so many hardships, Lisa remained determined to survive. She packed her things, and climbed to a higher point to find direction. To avoid getting lost, she marked her path with plastic bags. After walking for a long time, she found footprints on the ground. This gave her hope. Someone had been there before, but after following them, she realized the footprints were her own. She had been walking in circles, with no other option. She made a simple compass using a bottle, and continued her journey. But the forest was much larger than she expected. Exhausted, she began throwing away unnecessary items to lighten her load. Then something strange happened. The money she had thrown away appeared again. She checked the compass, but its magnetism had failed. She was lost again. Suddenly, she heard animal sounds nearby. Frightened, she climbed a tree, but slipped and got stuck. Looking closely, it was just a small raccoon. Relieved, she eventually fell asleep. At this point, she had almost lost all hope of survival. But suddenly, she heard a loud sound in the sky. Looking up, she saw a passing airplane. Hope returned instantly. She ran and shouted, but the plane was too far away to hear her. In the next moment, she slipped and fell into a deep cave. When she regained consciousness, she found herself trapped under a rock. Using all her strength, she freed herself and climbed upward using cracks in the wall. After much effort, she found a passage inside the cave, but it led to a dead end. As she turned back, the ground beneath her collapsed, and she fell off a cliff. When she woke up again, her body was severely injured. Still, she forced herself to stand and continued moving with the help of a stick. She had lost all her supplies, but she refused to give up. After walking for a long time, she found a river. Using a stick as support, she followed the river to escape, but the current was too strong. She couldn't hold on any longer, and the stick was swept away. She thought it was the end, but somehow, the river carried her to another place, where she was found by passing fishermen. They rescued her, and she slowly regained consciousness. In the end, she survived. With her boyfriend's support, the life growing inside her was also safely born. And the story ends with a message. No matter how desperate the situation is, never give up. Keep trying, keep fighting, because hope can appear when you least expect it.